Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to the 9 p.m. live English news edition, the top stories. Launch of the Djibouti Rising project. The international news: 3 Latin American countries begin vaccination. Hello, welcome again. Welcome to our newsroom for having the news in details. His Excellency Mr. Ismail Anglais, President of the Republic, attended last night the funeral of the late Mohammed Mahmoud Haid, a well-known personality in Djibouti, where he breathed his last breath with his family at the end of his career and professional success. The late Mohammed Mahmoud Haid was buried at the PK-12 cemetery. Many Jewish expressed their sincere condolences last night to the late Mohammed Mahmoud Haid. At the beginning of his life, the late Mohammed Mahmoud Haid worked in the Ethiopian Railway in Djibouti and for a long time worked as an administrative executive in several travel agencies. In addition to the President of the Republic, His Excellency Mr. Ismail Anglais, the President of the Somaliland, Mr. Musa Bihi Abdi, attended the funeral of the late Mohammed Mahmoud Haid. He is the elder brother of the First Lady, President of the National Union of Djiboutian Women, Mrs. Khadra Mahmoud Haid, leaving behind a family with a wife and several children. Inna lillah wa inna ilayhi raji'un. In Ali Sabeh, the region welcomed this morning the Minister of Finance, Mr. Ilyas Musa Al-Dawale, accompanied by the UNDP representative, Mrs. Fatuma Al-Sheikh, the Director of USAID, Mr. Lloyd Jackson, to launch the project entitled Djibouti Rising. On the arrival, the delegation headed by the Ministry of Finance, accompanied by the Ministry of Interior, the State Secretary for Decentralization, the UNDP representative, Mrs. Fatima El-Sheikh, the coordinator of the United Nations System, Barbara Benzi, the ambassador of the United Nations, Larry Andre, were welcomed by the President of the Regional Council, Omar Ahmed Wa'ais, and the Prefect of the region, Mr. Musa Aden Migani. They visited different stands of young aspiring entrepreneurs in the Aska region. The aim of this initiative is to revive the economy of the region's small and medium enterprises, especially those in the agro-business sector. This project is in partnership with UNDP and USAID, aims to help entrepreneurs overcome the COVID-19 crisis. The project aims to support existing and new livelihood and employment opportunities in Djibouti, targeting primarily agriculture and fisheries-based livelihood option. Thus, this project will rapidly contribute to improving the livelihoods and socio-economic recovery of more than 5,000 beneficiaries and will strengthen the social inclusion of the most disadvantaged and unemployed youth. The government of Djibouti is concerned about the growth uh, of those micro enterprises and their sustainability and is launching services focused on businesses, continuity strategies, and adapted to the revival of the SMEs operation in a changing and uncertain context. The UNDP representative Fatima Al Sheikh, in her speech, thanked the inhabitants of the Ali Sabeh region for the welcome she and the delegation received. In a speech by the director of the Entrepreneurship Center, she praised the importance of the day and noted that the center's managers had worked hard to achieve a successful outcome. UN System Coordinator and US Ambassador Larry Andre said the project and will introduce catalytic socio-economic recovery efforts in Djibouti. The State Secretary for Decentralization emphasized in his speech that this initiative will enable the regions of the interior to have economic and financial autonomy, and this will trigger endogenous development in order to offer the population of better living environments. For his part, the Ministry of Finance, Mr. Ilyas Musa Dawali, said in his speech that this ambitious project is a priority that are preserving the economic fabric. It will enable the production sector to recover, increase their capacity to create jobs, and preserve sources of income, he said. After the various speeches, the Leadership and Entrepreneurship Center, known by its acronym CLA, proceeded to the distribution of patents in favor of the 65 agronomists of the Propeja of the Ali Sabih region. The distribution of these patents were carried out within the framework of the support program for economic actors who were impacted by the COVID-19 crisis and who found themselves in a situation of cessation of activity following the containment measures. The support program also provides financial support of 1,000 USD per agronomist to enable them to help them resume their activities. Once the ceremony was over, the distinguished guests were invited to a meal at the plantation in Asamo. The Minister of Finance, Mr. Ilyas Musa Dawali, accompanied by the Minister of Interior, Mr. Mumin Ahmed Sheikh, and UNDP representative Fatima Al Sheikh met with the elders of the region. In a moment of communion, this meeting served as a march to display their grievances. This exchange also made it possible to collect the needs of each one. The Minister of Finance stressed that the Asama region was a blessed region known for its fertility. The young people who then took the floor asked for material and financial support to start an agribusiness and others to follow in the footsteps of their parents who lived off their gardens. In the morning of Thursday, the Minister of Social Affairs and Solidarity, Mrs. Mona Usman Aden, accompanied by the Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, Mr. Mohammed Al Yusuf, visited the construction project of Al Khair complex for orphans. Indeed, this project is implemented by the Sanabil Al Khair Association with the financing of a Kuwaiti charitable NGO. This delegation was received by the president of the association, Mr. Idris, in the presence of his closest collaborators. The ministerial delegation inspected this charitable project, which includes in its first phase a school, an orphanage, and a training center to improve their living conditions, particularly in the field of education and development. The president of the association, Mr. Idris, expressed his thanks and gratitude to the Ministry of Social Affairs and National Solidarity and his department for their intriguing support in accompanying them, and also to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation for this occasion. He also took the opportunity to review the most important charitable activities and programs it undertakes in the territory and the efforts of its association to support vulnerable groups. In his speech, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, spokesperson for the government, praised the importance of this project, which will undoubtedly contribute to improving the living and education conditions of orphans. For her part, the Minister of Social Affairs and Solidarity, Mrs. Mona Osman, stressed in her speech the importance of this project and concluded that this association is one of the active associations of the Republic of Djibouti, which supports the government's efforts in various fields, particularly in the event of natural disasters. She explained that her ministerial department is ready to support this association and provide it with all the necessary facilities to enable it to carry out the tasks conferred upon it. The President of Somaliland, His Excellency Mr. Musa Bihi Abdi, leading a large delegation, visited the northern port facilities this morning. The visit began with a stop at the ice floe of Lake Assal, accompanied by the Minister of Agriculture, Water, Fisheries, Livestock and Fishery Resources, His Excellency Mr. Mohammed Ahmed Awale, and the President of the Free Zone Authorities, Mr. Abubakar Omar Hadi. Mr. Musa Bihi was welcomed by the General Manager of the port, Abdul Mohammed Ali. The President of the Djibouti Free Zones Authorities and the General Manager explained the port to the guests. Afterward, the delegation went to the port of Tadro, where the prefect of the city, Hassan Dabele, the president of the regional council, Omar Hassan, and the general manager of this port, Omar Hassan, welcomed them. The president of the Somaliland toured the various facilities of these ports while listening to the explanation where the Ethiopian ship, the MV Mekele, carrying 25,000 tons of scrap metal docked. It should be noted that His Excellency Musa Bihi, accompanied by his Minister of Foreign Affairs, came to Djibouti on Wednesday evening for an official visit of few days. The representative of Djibouti in Somaliland and his Somali counterpart in Djibouti were present during this visit. The Idris Farah Abane Police Academy opened its door today to more than 100 students from the public school Ali Malo in immersion. The aim of this guided visit to the center was to make the profession of police officer known, but also to discover the importance of the work of these men and women who watch over the maintenance of order and security in our country day and night. About 100 students of the public school called Ali Malo took part Thursday in a guided tour at the Idris Farah Abane Police Academy, intended to make known the police profession. The little visitors were accompanied by their teachers, parents, but also the school director, Mr. Mohammed Omar Hassan, and his close collaborators. Welcomed their arrival by the director of the academy, Lieutenant Colonel Elmi Dahir, and the instructor of the academy. The day began with an intonation of the national anthem. A projection on the mission and prerogative of the national police was then presented to the children of the Ali Malo Public School. In his welcoming remarks, the director of the academy stressed the importance of these days of recovery to the police profession. Afterwards, the pupils attended several demonstrations organized by police officials. The police dog brigade, led by the Lieutenant Bakal, head of the raid police dog brigade, introduced the children to two dogs of the Malinese breed responsible for maintaining law and order. At the end of the morning, the children witnessed a policing operation in front of the demonstrators. The pupils were also able to admire the equestrian brigade in the parade of new recruits. The young pupils of the Ali Malo Public School came out of the academy with their eyes full of stars, and above all with the firm will that one day they will also be dressed as police officials to ensure the maintenance of peace and security in their country. The Unity region received on Thursday, December 24, 2020, the working visit of a large delegation composed of civil security officials from the Aisha'a sub-region, Ethiopia. This delegation, led by the prefect of Aisha'a sub-region, Mr. Dair Hassan Waberi, was welcomed by the prefect of the Dakhil region, Mr. Adan Tarar, and the president of the regional council, Mr. Abdurrahman Yunis. The objective of this visit in line with the strengthening of bilateral relations between the two neighboring regions, particularly in the Aisha sub-region and the Dakhil region. At the end of this working visit, the Aisha delegation had a meeting to make contact and exchange views with the civil military leaders of the Dakhil region. Moving now to international news, as I mentioned on the title, three Latin American countries began their vaccination campaign against COVID-19 on Thursday, 24th December, while Europe is worried about the new strain detected in the United Kingdom, which is proving to be particularly contagious. Just a few hours after receiving the first doses of the vaccine from US pharmaceutical giants, Mexico, Chile, and Costa Rica began their vaccination campaigns. I'm a little nervous but very happy. It's the best gift we could receive in 2020. It will give me more security and courage to continue the fight against the invisible enemy, testified Maria Ramirez, a 59-year-old Mexican nurse. At the end of receiving the injection at the General Hospital in Mexico City, it was also a member of the medical staff of 46-year-old nurse's aide Zulema Riquelme, very moved and nervous, who received the first dose of the vaccine on Thursday in Santiago under the eyes of Chilean President Sebastián Piñera. This is it for this edition of 9 p.m. Thank you for watching us and have a wonderful evening.